Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3's Black Ice, which I still think is the best World War II grand strategy, global, historically plausible type game out there. It is still the best. Hoi 4 has a lot to recommend it, and I like the game, but this is, with Black Ice and some of the sub mods, is probably the best game in existence for this out there still. And as Lewis is saying, the problem with me Hoi 4 is Steam exclusive. Yes, it is. I understand why they did it. I understand why people have problems with it, but yeah, I get that as a valid criticism. Just hope they can add multi-core support for Hoi 4. You mean for, more? I'm pretty sure they have, CPU cores. I'm pretty sure they have multi-core support. I could be wrong, but I thought they did. Well, we didn't watch this here, but we drove off a cruiser with our motor torpedo boats. Okay, well, do we want to trade with Australia? Yeah, okay, we'll trade with Australia. Yeah, we want the money. Okay. We've now become a global land power instead of just a land power. Deployed enough divisions. Organization regain rate plus 10%, land organization plus 10%. IC efficiency for production down 1.5%. So that is a significant boost over these. Okay. Well, yeah, then that would be nice. I forget. I probably knew at one point. Cast ground crew training. Okay. I know we're in 1944, or we're virtually there. But let's look around and see, yeah, things that may be a little more important to do earlier than others. And so if you're, and they very much said this for Hoi 4 in the development mindset, is Hoi 4, and I think part of it is they're compensating. You'll realize that there is approximately equal number of provinces between Hoi 4 and Hoi 3. And getting more, there's sort of a somewhere between an engine limitation and a CPU, mentioning CPU limitations, for the AI is considering this. Realize this is not a real-time strategy game. This is a turn-based strategy game that the turns are one turn each hour. So for a human player, we don't really see the turns. And so you do have initiatives between, each hour. Not each day, but each one of these hours that clicks through as a turn. But the AI is constantly evaluating things. And the AI, we generally think the combat AI, shall we say, for both Hoi 4 and Hoi 3, though it's been a little while since I played Hoi 4, it's gotten a lot better from start for Hoi 4 for sure. The combat AI is not so great. Maybe even down to being suck, but it's constantly having to evaluate what's going on every single hour for combat. And you add too many provinces in, it becomes more and more of a problem for not just for CPUs running it and the AI dealing with it, but, and I counted this up on, at least like on the Netherlands and Belgium and a few other places, between Hoi 4 map and Hoi 3 map, they've reduced the number of provinces about half. So what that does is allows it gives fewer provinces. So like plunks, like these two are turned, let's say theoretically, are turned into one province. So you have one division sitting here, and you can do that all along this area. So you have fewer provinces. Okay, well, especially if you have a nation that is fairly small and doesn't have enough divisions, you can concentrate your force. So instead of having one division in each one of these provinces, theoretically, you can have two divisions in each of the, border provinces. So you're better defended. Right. Well, the problem is with that is that you have less tactical choice as a player. You're just bashing your head, straight into the enemy instead of like, oh, I'm going to hook around through here and cut off this province and move up here. It's a more concentrated game. And they claim because there is about equal number of provinces, because I did look in it, is that they have, instead of these huge giant provinces in other parts of the world, they have, because this, look, I don't know if you can tell, this thing is huge. Look at this province here. This is huge province. I mean, all the way down to here, between these two rivers and up to here. That's one province. Is that they've moved more provinces more evenly distributed around the world. Well, yeah, if your main thing is, I'm going to play Hoi 4, and I'm going to play as Brazil and try to conquer South America or something, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, but that's not the World War II game, and so these areas are less important, so you need less focus on them. But they've balanced it out a little bit more like that. And so they've taken away provinces from where action happens heavily in World War II, which may or may not be in the center of Germany theoretically, but this part, they've cut the amount of provinces in this zone in half. Well, it's easier for their AI, which, can doom stack a little better or evenly spread out along the front a little better. But it reduces the tactical and strategical finesse of planning, of surrounding of units. It's not as tactical a game. It is more of a core-based game, if you will. And also, they've talked about is what they wanted to do with Hoi 4 is you're playing as like the head of the state, and you sort of set production, with their really nice, and I like their production system. You sort of set all that up, and then you draw battle plans, surround here and circle this, which never fucking work in my experience, but you draw all these really cool battle plans, and then you hit go, and then you sit back and watch the AI fight the AI. That was their sort of design concept for Hoi 4. I like to micromanage my armies. That's because I come from a tabletop playing background. I just want to play it on the computer, whether linked to somebody else, multiplayer, or whether just against the AI. Or combination thereof. I want to come in and play, in essence, a tabletop game. They wanted, with Hoi 4, wanted to create, you make all the big decisions and then see how it goes. That was the design concept for Hoi 4, which I vehemently disagree with as what I want. I mean, not that it's a terrible idea. It seems rather popular with lots of people. And popularity, maybe really sort of the goal with, game companies, because the job is to sell lots of games. Where my goal is to have a plausibly realistic historically based grand strategy game. That's what I want to have, that I can dig into the details if I want to. Okay, you swing around here. Come through. Well, no. I want you to come through here. That way. Swing away from anybody retreating there with that. Hopefully fairly fast motorized division. We're all armored, but yeah. Here, yeah, you guys are all pushing into Tripoli. Okay. So again, these motor torpedo boats, I don't know if they would stop a truly big, determined fleet coming in to invade, but some somewhat minor, minor escort, you got like a light cruiser and 2 destroyers escorting, invasion transports, yeah, these motor torpedo boats, I think will stop them. So that's what I'm hoping with all the ones I'm building here. Here, spamming out, which will be out in February. And I'm going to send them into the Mediterranean along all the ports along the African coast and send them out to patrol here and basically hopefully keep from being invaded. That's my goal. China, Burma, India formation. Well, China's gone, but yeah, okay. And again, this is I hate this with a passion. But okay, and I'll get rid of it. And I do get rid of it. I have gotten rid of it, I should say, for Third Reich events. So, but since I'm not playing with Third Reich events, okay, we're back to being very highly popular. And medium air search radar has advanced. So is that avionics? Yes. Okay. Let's do navigation radar. Okay, well, we do have more. So the reason I picked this is particularly because we're having flying boats and nav air. So for air detection, but we also have for surface detection now. Yeah, we could do it with that. And because we're highly popular now, we have more research options. They're getting into that fight too. Okay. Right. Yeah, again, these are silly. Silly. Well, yeah, well, there's different customers. And you're right about customers, always sort of being right in a way. I mean, it's maybe not absolutely right, but generally speaking, I would agree with that sentiment. You see, there, and I know a lot of you, of course, play the game, so I know I'm already speaking to people who understand this. But I very much, with Hoi 4, came to realize what was going on. Is they had 3 flagship products. I mean, they Paradox realizes that they spammed out into a lot of different directions and producing a lot of different games and really pulled back. They got too full of themselves and they realized that and they've pulled back. I don't know what they've done with all the department heads and whatnot, but I just haven't been following Paradox closely enough to know. But they had 3 flagship products: Crusader Kings, EU, and Vicky. Okay, and those 3 games had a core player base, and although they liked flavor elements of their game, have each nation has its own horse armor that matches the national horse armor on it, but largely generic and largely not relevant to actual history other than maybe start dates. So you're as likely to, I don't know, have England merge with the Venice Empire and have the Anglo-Venetian Empire in the Mediterranean in here, as you are to have Britain take over North America, because Britain might as well just take South America and Spain take North America. Equally, I'm not saying this is wrong or bad or whatever, because I played in a lot of EU, the original EU way back when, and I would do things like this. So other than sort of historical start dates, you had these sort of wild games and this player base that may have a favorite game, either be based on time period or game mechanics, but you had these 3 flagship games, and then you had this one other flagship game that just didn't match up with those other 3, and that was Hearts of Iron. Hearts of Iron, I've not played Hearts of Iron 2, but I've watched some play content, and I played tons of Hearts of Iron 3. It's a core World War II game, and it's a core, World War II war game, not and there's grand strategy war game, yes, but it is still especially Hoi 3, is a division based game to play, and you got fighter squadrons, and you're doing all these things, and it's really cool, and it's very historical. But you're not reforming the freaking, there's no way to reform the Byzantine Empire in this game. Where's my option to reform the goddamn Byzantine Empire? We should be able to do that. And Ulm should be able to conquer the world in Hoi, in Hoi, whether 3, 4, whatever. You can't do that. And where is my, fascist America option? With Hoi 3, you just didn't have this. You didn't have, hey, I'm Norwegian. I want to play Norway and conquer Scandinavia and all of, northern Scotland and Northern Ireland, and redo the Norwegian Viking Empire as it once existed. But I want to do it in the 20th century. Okay, yeah, fun games, great games, cool. I'm not trying to knock that. But that is not what Hoi 3 or Hoi 2 is. Hoi 3 or Hoi 2 was a World War II game. So I've described Hoi 4 as EU 20th century. And I think that's very much what they've sort of created with that, is EU 20th century, so that you can reunite the great Norse Empire, if that's what you want to do. And the game doesn't look at you and say, you're fucking stupid, because that's not possible, to do, because Norway isn't going to be able to conquer Sweden, even if you really super want it to. And then Norway isn't going to be able to, even if it did somehow conquer Sweden, or maybe do a propaganda campaign to say the King of Norway is better than the King of Sweden, so everybody switch alliances. And then once you do that, you get all that together, you're not really going to conquer northern, Britain to re-get that, or retake the Danelaw down here in England. That just isn't, and to my opinion is that if you have a game that allows you to do that, which it still does, the game is broken. Okay, the game doesn't work right, because not even if you go beyond the politics of it, even if you go, yeah, I'm going to be, quisling fascist Norway, and I'm going to be conquering. They just don't have the industry, to be able to do that. And Sweden isn't going to collapse enough to give you that industry. But even if it's somehow you, like I say, did a political internal fascist movement that you got going that hook it up in a maybe anti-monarchist, you're getting rid of all the monarchies because you're doing fascism, as a core tenet, and convince the Swedish people to join your Norwegian empire, because all fascists strong together. You're still not going to have enough industry to take on Britain. They just can't build enough ships to get across the freaking North Sea. Britain would look at you and go, huh? You've got all these ships coming to invade me? Huh? We'll send out Coastal Command. I don't even need to send out, Bomber Command or Fighter Command. I'll just send out Coastal Command and sink everything you've got. Oh, you're going to build another fleet? Okay, I'll sink that too. Oh, while I'm fighting the Germans too, no problem. I'll just sink everything Norway and Sweden could possibly ever build ship-wise to try to get soldiers to England. It is an impossibility. So if you have a game that allows you to do these things, the game is fucking broken. Even if politically speaking, meaning you could, imagine, a wannabe union that all these guys join up. And even if you add Denmark to it, it's still their shipbuilding capacity. Yeah, Coastal Command will just, you're going to send us some more targets to shoot at this time, guys. And that is, hey, NMDB, how you doing? So Hoi is still playable. Oh yes, Hoi, especially like some of the Hoi 2 Dark with mods, or I haven't played it. Or what is it? The Darkest Hour mods. I have some. I bought because they were super cheap at whatever time. Way after. I've never played them, just to have them as possible reference or whatever, because they were on sale. So I got them, and so and I am not against. I trust me. I actually like Kaiserreich because it's sort of such. Now it's a wacky world, and so long as I keep in my mind that it's a wacky world and not just what if Germany wins World War I and then sets up a reasonable world with it. It's a wacky world. So if you're creating a wacky world, okay, we're creating but we're doing a whole rebuild and mythos or sort of setting for this world, and you're creating. Okay, if and it's a fantasy game, and I'm fine with it being a fantasy game. And then I'm also, kind of, what if Mosley gets in charge of Britain as fascist or something? I could kind of maybe see some of these things that you want to play. Not everywhere in the world going fascist, but, or something like that. I can see some of these things happening that you want to do. But even if you do that, you're still not going to reunite. Greece isn't going to rebuild the Byzantine Empire, or Spain isn't going to go conquer. It just physically can't fucking conquer its former territories. No matter how, even if you take Mexico off the table, and somehow don't have the Spanish Civil War, or it gets over quick enough and you rebuild. No, it just does not have the manpower, the industrial power to reconquer its former territories. Things like that, to me just says the game is broken. Even if, say, politically, we want to tweak something here. And so, and I'm not saying you shouldn't make what they made in Hoi 4, because obviously it matches that player base of, CK, EU, and Vicky. It matches that player base, and but why not just call it, EU 20th century and start it at the collapse. You will either import your Vicky game, so you start out in Crusader Kings, get done with Crusader Kings, you export it into EU, get through EU, you export it to Vicky, and then you export it to EU 20th century. And go on with that there, and just dealing with the change of speed of action of, with more modern technology that I think is best handled in a different game, as opposed to just having a universal game that somehow deals with all the different periods. Or you just have the start date of, 1914 or 1910 or whatever, if you're not importing a previously saved game, and just to have, it's 1910, this is the world, play and have, whatever you're doing. But even, like I say, even then you still have real industrial capacities limitations of Portugal or Norway or even of Germany in 1910, and population limitations. And you do, unlike, well, you do sort of have in Vicky, if for Europe at least, and European nations. But most of the rest of the world, well, you can talk China or whatever. Nationalism isn't that big of a thing. Where for EU and Crusader Kings, nationalism isn't that big of a thing. So absorbing conquered populations is much easier than that. But by the time you're getting to the 20th century, particularly, you have nationalism that's a real force that Germany just can't occupy everything, and you can't find enough collaborationists in France, in Spain, in Poland, in Hungary, if Germany's doing, you know, a world conquest to make it realistic. So whenever you have games like that, they're broken. And so this is why I still think Hoi 4 is broken. And let's see. Yeah, Darkest Hour is totally playable. Only problem is combat, which is super done. Yes. Good to hear. Like the YouTube video of how you can conquer the world as Liechtenstein and Hoi 4. Now that, of course, presumably, because I have seen some of these things, comes in the very early days of a very, very broken game. And if you get, and probably most of you know, but I was in the beta test and for Hoi 4 and continued in the beta for a long time after it. I got kicked out only because I hadn't contributed in like 6 to 9 months. I hadn't sent in a single report on anything. I just hadn't been playing it, and just sort of as a house cleaning, I got kicked from it just because for inactivity, not for any bad behavior or anything like that. But I got kicked for just not being active in it, and it's reasonable. I'm not. Well, the only thing I am a little salty is after I get kicked from Hoi 4. The one thing that I was begging with from the beginning with the developer to put into Hoi 4 was railroads get put in. That's the only thing I'm salty about. If I knew that, oh, well, we're planning on doing, because, you know, they don't tell the beta people until it's actually in beta to be testing. So I'm not sure if I got kicked when, you know, they were developing the railroads. I'm not giving away much by saying we only get told what the beta looks like by the time it gets there. At least that was the thing. I'm not really supposed to say hardly anything at all, but I really don't say anything. But so, I mean, I hadn't heard, and I vaguely was paying attention, but I might have missed something. But had I known that, hey, gamer, if you participate a little bit more, we'll keep you, you know, I mean, you know, theoretically. And, oh, hey, your idea of, you know, railroads, we're going to agree to that. I would have upped it just to be part of the beta test and have input on it. But yeah, so that's the only bit I'm salty with about it being kicked. Otherwise I'm not salty because I wasn't participating, so I'm not upset by being kicked. It's just one of the big things I wanted in the game. Oh, and of course now they've added divisional generals back in, which was another thing I wanted. But that was obviously much, much later. So yeah, I'm, you know, not really salty about being kicked from the beta. So yeah, I've played those early broken, you know, conquer the world as Liechtenstein kind of thing. Okay, yes, you can have a submarine stuff. Yes, you can have rare materials, and yes, another submarine. Everybody likes their submarines. Okay, well, they're starting to go after my transports here. Okay, so what options do I have? And I know I have some options. So what we're going to do is fly you into here. How big of an airbase is this? 16, and this is an 8, and we have 9 units here. So you come to here to get repaired. You'll repair okay as long as we have enough slots for you. You're going to come here because you're going to have long range air support. And yes, like I say, I'm only half-heartedly playing this game right now compared to if I really want to seriously play. Yes, you can come down to here. Fighters in here? No, it doesn't look like it. I know I sent some fighters over here to get organized up, and they're not here. Did I already send them to the front? Oh no, there they are. Why didn't they show up when I hovered over? I don't know. Okay, you're supposed to come out to guess maybe to here. You come out here and air intercept all that area. Well, that's a long range. Yeah, we're doing good progress here. And I'm not that worried. I'm definitely not worried about a German counter invasion because Germany is having enough trouble here, and I see Italian units along here. So we see the Corps and the Army Group headquarters that are actually in control by Italy. So Italy is here. I'm suspecting that Italy is very weak in here. I really don't think they're capable of fighting me right now, but I want to try to save as much of this, so I'm pushing down this way first fast before thinking about invading anywhere else. So I am not ignoring, because obviously I'm making some contingencies for possibilities of invasion from North Africa here by moving some of these Foreign Legion forces around. But I am mostly pushing fast hard east. Yeah, especially if I was playing slower, it could, but air defenses help in port strikes, so I'm not that ready to do that. So, well, we've got a lot of air interception range there. So you should intercept anything flying. You get to come here. Port strikes are either going to, maybe if there's ships in ports, it'll do that. No, I'm not liking this. Okay, I'm trying to get this area. Well, that's something. Repairing, you're intercepting. You're ground attacking, but let's put you into. That'll help with going. See, we're already going after these subs here. Maybe not overly effectively, but we're going after them. And we got rid of 2 long-range submarines. Now what we can do, because we maybe it's a mistake to do this, because this is being successful in shutting down Germany's submarine operations, but let's get these guys down to here. Yeah, you're gonna fly. Well, there's ways to get around flying through enemy territory like this. It's gonna shoo me up a little bit, but they got through, it looks like, mostly okay. Okay, okay, salt concentration has advanced. I think that is that over here? Yes, okay, 39, continue that. Okay, commander decision making, that I believe is naval. 44, yeah, we can continue that. Oh, we should be doing, oh, I know why we're getting some of those things, is because we need to come over here and do annual espionage focus, and we're going to do political spying because we want to keep popularity up. Economic boost, which we need to do, and we want to do short-term investment. No, did we get something deployed heavily? Okay, bunch of fighters, great. We'll want to use those. Okay, motor torpedo boats coming, spam big time. Lots of fighter or CAGs, some long-range fighters, some more of these guys, but maybe we can use a few more of those. Well, I got those there. Okay. And a bunch more divisions. Yeah, just some fighters might be nice. Let's do 4 of those. Okay. Okay, we're fighting a battle group. Okay, now, yeah, because we got to do these first of the year, which I hadn't done. No, we're not going to request civilian fleets, I don't think. Now, I don't think it's going to help a lot just to infrastructure damage the ports. I'm not saying it wouldn't help at all, but you know, support strikes go after. Why am I, you know, annual national focus? Why don't I see that here? Because I'm blind or is not there? Okay, combined arms integration has advanced. That is here, and we'll let that continue. We need to fight some more battles before we can get that going. Okay, we give them energy, certainly. Again, where do I not see why, or where is it? I don't see. No. Yeah, cavalry division go, cavalry division in essence go. So it's motorized cavalry entirely. Yeah. These guys here, like I say, these are, you know, taking out ships, so they've become very powerful. Now they're short range, so they can only operate a short distance from their ports, but they are really strong now in this game. I'm thinking maybe too strong, I'm not sure, but mountain unit training. Okay, here mountain unit 43, even though I don't know if I have any, but we'll keep that going. I think Biloxi, Mississippi, is that? Oh, see, there we go. 3 submarines taken out with motor torpedo boats. And now this is only reporting what the motor torpedo boats sunk, but they may have been damaged by the aircraft. Because we don't get reports on what the aircraft sinks. So yes, see, that is why I like these guys so much. Okay, we're gonna let these guys sit down here. Hopefully that airport, yeah, is big enough to get repaired before we send them back out. They flew across France. To not have them fly across France, I literally have to fly them to the U.S. back to here. And if I was playing this game well or right or correctly, that would be what you should do. Takes a little longer, but gets them there safely. Lots of bags. Maybe the red tails that we're seeing here. 20th Pursuit Squadron. Okay, well, they're in defense. Let's send you up to here. Let's come click here. Oh, and you know, because this game is such a big, huge game, if you're having trouble learning it, I don't think I can tell you, oh, well, make sure you do X or Y or whatever and things will be just fine. I don't think I can tell you that, but I do think, okay, you come here and intercept this area. But if you have specific questions or something, you can post them below the videos if you want, and that's fine, but I don't like to type huge amounts, so if it's simple typing, or wait and I may very well respond in an upcoming video. But if you're live, particularly like now, okay, we have some Greek and French. Oh, well, for some reason we got these guys. Where are these guys? Are all here. Okay. So let's get these sort of national wings together. I know we sort of lose a little bit of... Oh, Doolittle's in charge. Why is Doolittle freaking in charge of... Doolittle, great commander and all, but for bombers. Well, let's see. Can we come down here and find... Okay, here we go. There we go. Do we fly across? Well, maybe we'll wait a little bit. But, you know, answering stuff live here, and yeah, see, like, I get things out here, and I'm not... I should be playing this a lot slower. But yeah, I would happily answer questions. Oh, a partisan outbreak here. Okay, so what I want to do here is resource mode, which will tell me like that. So we're going to do strategic bombing. We're going to do it passive, and we're going to do it at night. We're doing sort of the British style here. Get a couple of these guys going for night raids. 9 Megan. Yeah, we'll go after that. Passive night only. We can come down to overlong here, strategic, passive, night. So we'll get some of that bombing going. Armor move, armor move. Okay, and we should set up. And yes, again, I have to say it every time. Well, not every time, maybe, but much time. I want to make sure we're doing it. Apply. There is no Washington D.C. port. Doesn't exist. New Tripoli. There we go. So now we should have supply coming in through here. Yes, vulnerable to Italian attack, but we, like we say, we've already taken out 3 Italian submarines. Attritional warfare advance. Very nice. That, I believe, is here and grayed out. Okay. So we can start doing 45 now, but we really want to do the 44 technologies first, and those reduce time between attacks is the main thing. Well, let's look up here at these. You see some 44 technologies, but units I'm not really using much of, if any. Dual purpose. Oh, yes, we'll do that. Because that does have a negative effect on supply consumption, but otherwise, well, not that bad of a thing. See here. Okay, what do we got here? That's our sub is battling some Italian units along with air attack, and we took out a Japanese sub. Nope, we got enough supplies. Civil defense advanced, very good. So our repair rate is up 45. Okay. Don't know that we're going to reduce that. We do education advancement and interception tactics. I believe that is down here. Air superiority. Okay, and self-propelled artillery brigades have advanced. Yeah, we'll let that go. '43. High seas to Britain. Excuse me, high seas to Britain. And they still can't take. Well, they've taken back Dar es Salaam. Well, good for you, Britain. Yay. Yeah. Yeah, we may need these guys once we get to the main Italian army in North Africa or in Arabia here. Oh, we'd take out 2 coastal submarines. New Zealand and Australia have asked for a lot of submarines, or plans for submarines, or however you want to say it. I hope they're doing this. Okay, now, okay, well, allows construction of colonial militia units here, but what I'm thinking at least this used to do, but I'm going to look here to see if I see a colonial looking unit now. It used to for Britain and even Germany, though I think they removed it for Germany, and Italy and whatnot, is by controlling certain places, you would get events that would give you small numbers of colonial units, which are, you know, good for occupation, and, you know, they can do combat, you know, frontline combat, but you don't want to overly rely upon them. Okay. I haven't seen national focus for the year unless I remember. We did economic for short term, but you know, do I want to focus on land or air or navy, or I don't know why I'm not seeing that here. Yeah, we should seriously consider moving Patton up, divisional HQ, or core HQs up. Keep moving up for best results. Keep moving these guys up. Did you guys ever make it? Nope. They must have lost all their fuel again. These should be moving at 10 times the speed. Oh, this is aggravating. See, I normally don't want to cheat and alt tab over. Realize, again, players, if you are playing Black Ice and you do the you know, alt tab to get to the or whatever it is, to get to the other nations, to look at other nations, you do it for even a second, it F's your game up. You may not realize it, but it F's your game up. I know, because I know the coding, and I know it will F your game up. You may not notice it, but it F's the game up. It fucks it up. Now, if you want to like see what's going on with Italy, fine, save the game, and then do it, and then restart the game using your earlier save. But if you know, like if you're Germany and, well, I want to adjust Italian production, once you do that and then go back, you've effed up Italy. And the main thing is it will potentially have the flags for both. Is Italy AI and is Italy player controlled? And that is the real, and the way Black Ice handles things can really F things up. And so if it like gets the flag, oh hey, player controlled, and so if the event is like, hey, if not controlled by player, do this. Well, we see the flag is we see that it's controlled by the player, so it won't fire the events and things. And it may not entirely like, it doesn't crash the game, and it may not entirely make the thing unplayable, but it does. But it also can, there's more. And I know this is, so don't check out other nations or do that unless you're saving it. So to go back to that save and just wanting to, peek inside and see what's going on and then go back. So I'm wondering if the AI is also facing all of this, because we see 1069 being returned to pool. But so I'm thinking if I were to make an event that spams in fuel for America, because again, not Germany, which has a similar sort of problem with once it gets deep into the Soviet Union, has this same problem. And what the problem is, and what you may be facing in America is the fuel tax. Is it puts in fuel in the supply system in Berlin. The fuel goes and gets taxed at each one of these provinces by a little bit. But each province gets taxed, and then it finds out, oh, wait a minute, we no longer, we need to send fuel here. And so it starts sending fuel out there, and it gets halfway there and realizes, well, we no longer need fuel here. We need fuel over here. So, we no longer need this fuel. So send this fuel back to Berlin. Let's send other fuel to this next province. That's what it's doing. Okay, so it thought it needed fuel here, but since all the units move away from here, and move to the next province, oh, well, let's send the fuel that we were sending here back to Berlin and send new, different fuel to here. Well, part of the problem is the delay in getting the fuel to the next province. That's a big problem. The other problem is that each time that fuel moves along the chain going forward, it gets taxed a little bit. Meaning it takes, it's the idea of, if you're running fuel trucks, well, yeah, there's a big tanker, but you're also needing to fuel that engine kind of thing. And it's sort of supply and fuel tax. And this also happens with supply as well, and especially for land-based nations like Germany pushing deep into Russia. But so it gets fuel tax going this way, and then it gets fuel tax going this way. So you end up putting fuel that gets lost both where is it in the system, but also being taxed in both ways. And so that really grinds down German fuel. Now, Germany does have a severe fuel problem, so it's not for me normally a rage quit, this is effed up, I'm out of here game. This is just like, okay, something that I wish I could deal with. I wish I could somehow I wish I could turn this onto manual. And I manually send fuel to places. And then I wish I could go fuel in this province, sort of like writing orders, send it to this damn province. And and yes, it may take me a week to sort of manage a turn or whatever you want to call it, for things and let it play. But if I wanted to dig into it, I wish I could. Now, what I really hope is and I really have not played a good game with the new railway system that is supposed to help with that, making that more realistic, especially going to East. And I was waiting for Black Ice to come out to integrate the railways instead of their rage quit. Got me to rage quit, and won't go into, their supply problems right here that I would think supply problems that should have been way out here. But if they've adjusted things and used the new rail system, you don't have those things, and Black Ice for Hoi 4 could be really great. Could be, but I don't know. So, this is really upsetting me that this is continuing. And and if I'm going to play, if I'm ever going to play my next grand game of this as Germany, I'm thinking about, do I just make a an event that like every month just dumps a huge amounts of fuel into the pool, so it's for America, so it doesn't, like, it won't help at the front line, you know, if it can't get it there, you know, I mean, it's still got to get it to whatever the quality of the port and get it to the front line, but just dump it huge amounts of fuel for player and or AI back here, and then then it goes into the system, and enough that every month, and that would be realistic, I think. What do you guys think? Either live or later on YouTube. Please post if you think the idea of spamming in fuel for America would not be game breaking and would be actually game improving. Okay, so just a few divisions that don't use fuel, but escorts, well, you know, so we could do a few more. That will help some. Not be, you know, because we're losing a little bit. Well, you know, let's do, because we're pushing more and more into the Mediterranean. And so we'll do that. Let's continue. Okay, so we have long-range fighters. No, air intercept. Long-range fighters go. Shoot down. Medium-range fighters. Shoot down the Italians. Okay. Naval strike this area. There we go. Now those guys won't see subs so well, but okay, you guys are somewhat going here, so let's naval strike this area. Oh, you're in bad shapes. You go home. A moment, take a break. And here we're back from percent. A proper depot system, like, well, they've supposedly tried to do some sort of depot system for this 11 version. But yeah, I wish they could do a depot system of some sort. Let me click on a province here. But I did note you said proper. Trust me, I noticed your word there. Those are factories. Maybe they're here. Petroleum refinery. Oil rigs. Maybe I should just be building petroleum refineries. It could be something simple as that I don't, because that wasn't an option before, and maybe they're expecting me to build petroleum refineries. Is that a new building type that I'm not used to playing with? That could be. You know, I don't know everything, and they've been updating this, and this is the first time I've really played 11. Okay, I'm not seeing it here if it is an option. But yeah, no, a proper depot system would be lovely. So if you guys ever want to organize up a software development company and want to produce a wonderful grand strategy game, I've got one. I mean, it'd be similar, trust me, yes, it would be similar to Hoi 4, but it wouldn't be the same. I got one in my head, and I got elements that they've yet to do that would be really good, in my opinion, in the game. I know I've talked about a few of them in some episodes, but some elements of what I would do. Not just different, but just do other things that they don't. That would make the game Soviet Union okay if annexed out there. So far, we faced some German units that have been given to German Africa Corps units that have been given to Spain through events here. That was our only real serious opposition. You should be getting some fighter interceptors support there. I don't know. No, we don't need supplies. Yeah, no, I like War Plan. Alvaro is a very nice guy. I've gotten to know him a little bit. Yeah, War Plan is a good option. It is probably about, I guess, the best interpretation of Third Reich, if you will, into the computer. Okay, so now we've rebuilt this core. We have one more that we can't fit in there, but we could assign it to something else. Yeah, so I like War Plan. It just doesn't quite have the the depth that Hoi 3 does. I highly recommend War Plan. Most of my problems with Strategic Command are fixed in War Plan. So I also like Herbert and Bill because I know those guys too, who make Strategic Command. I like their games. I love Strategic Command, World War One. They're sort of DLCs that are division based, that are sort of not the whole war, but either the initial attack in 1914 or the other later German assault. Those are really good. They're sort of every 2 days, divisional based. I love those. I like the rest of whether World War One and I think it works a little better as World War One. Just the pacing, the unit scale. There's a little too much support units for in the scale for World War II. So I think even the whole war grand scales, their game does better as World War One. But I think it's good. Either the War in Europe or the global version is very good for Strategic Command. But I gotta say, I like War Plan just a little bit more. But War Plan isn't perfect either. I know. Well, War Plan just. I haven't talked to Alvaro. It's probably been a year almost. God, it's been a while. Because you have the Pacific and the the European theater, and the plan was, as I was talking to him, and he was telling me, and it was he after releasing the European theater war plan, he was going to do the Pacific, and then he was going to create a global version. So if you want to play currently, because I do keep up with Paradox, Matrix Slytherin, so I know there isn't a new announcement on it. Though the Home of the Wargamers is coming out this next week. There's going to be a bunch of announcements and stuff. Maybe some sales, I don't know. So, and I'll be streaming for them some special streams next week. But they may announce something there. But the plan was, to then, once you get the Pacific and the Atlantic, or your Europe, then to do a global version of War Plan. After doing the research and getting both of those two individual games sort of working right, because they're different between them. And so if you want to play that type of game, you want to currently play it globally, you need Strategic Command. It's close, but I would have to go War Plan for original War Plan for Europe only. But World or War in Europe is very good. And if you just want to play the Pacific, obviously you got to play in that scale. You got to play War Plan because Strategic Command doesn't have just a Pacific theater. And if you want to play World War One with that kind of thing, you got to do. There's other games out there, but between those games, you got Strategic Command. And I've sort of liked the Civil War game that Strategic Command has done. I like that as well. Foreign Engine Airframe Research Advancement. Grayed out. Right. Okay. Let's do Naval Bomber Prototype. I know global version is in the pipeline, but not how. I have no idea. I mean, I just said that I do know that they're announcing things. I'm not sure if I know anything of what they're announcing, or I'm just not sure right now. Or because if I ask, they'll tell me, but then of course they'll say, "Oh, well, yeah, we can tell you, but don't tell anybody." If they tell me something like they're not that are not supposed to be announced yet. Of what they're announcing, either DLCs or how much space do we have here? Okay, not enough. How much space do we have up here? Oh, plenty. Of what's going on. So yeah, I have no idea whether it's near, far. And a lot of that work I know Alvaro is doing himself. He does, I think, contract out certain things, but the overwhelming, including the AI programming, he's doing himself. So yeah, that can take a while. And it's also, you read his post on the Matrix forum, that's where I got it from. Yeah, I haven't been following it too closely, but I know it can help to get somebody in there to help do stuff, but it can also be a problem. Just more explaining, what needs to be done can end up being as much trouble as it might help, kind of thing. So I really like particularly Alvaro's communication with the community. It's really good. So. All for supporting of that. And if you want, a sort of every other week turn-based, fairly grand strategy, at least European theater or whatever, game, either of those two games I would recommend them. I try to evaluate every game, just strategically move these guys up, as to what they're trying to be. Okay, I guess that was the major victory here. Move up to Benghazi. You can try to race Fort Tobruk. Yes, you can have energy. And so that's how I try to evaluate things, as what they're trying to be. And so Beam Slam and others, do note that next week there's going to be a huge amount of streaming over on Slytherin's Twitch channel. So if you haven't already, make sure you follow over there. And while you're watching it, you earn Sliss, which is a coin kind of thing. And you can turn in for free DLCs and games. So the more you watch, the more you get, and you can even, if you got something else you got to do, you can turn off. You can either listen to it, or you can even turn off the volume and alt tab out of it and just have it on in the background there. Streaming it basically to nothing, but it will help you earn those. And now, of course, it helps me out in that the more people watching, the more you more likely draw in new people to watch it. Things on Twitch, the more people watch, the more likely you be found. And if that's happening, more likely to get more people to, when I pimp out my channel there, which they allow us to do, highlight that stuff, I'll get, new subscribers. So if, and that starts, see, I think I start on the 10th, which I think is Tuesday, or no, Monday, or I don't know. I have to look, but they may be starting on Mondays. It may be Monday it starts. I don't remember. I mean, there was a special schedule, and I have a link to it, and I sort of got to check that out just to make sure. Okay, we are ammunition capacity for aircraft, and I think that is under armament. And it's 40, yeah, and it's reducing down speed and range, but other things are pushing it up, like that, technologies and others. So I think we'll let that continue. So it'll be a good way to earn that. Now, I don't think they promote that up enough, that you get the free games. And the games are not just like, I mean, they're not, well, if you are a subscriber and you can use your Amazon free single subscribe thing there if you want. If you're a subscriber, you get access to more options for your what you get on the slips. But they're not, there's good options of things to get with your sliths. It's not just junky games or junky DLCs. Not the latest stuff, but some decent stuff for sure. Okay, well, it looks like we're going to take here, and I know I've been playing and focusing because I'm presuming, and it's probably, hopefully getting more done. Yeah, we're getting, okay, Oklahoma is about, because it's going to like 300%. They've pushed these out, which are not necessarily bad. It's not a complaint, but it's just sort of a note. I wanted to sort of get these guys in good shape before I start pushing again here. Did I save this? But either way, let's save this again. We hadn't done. All right, well, I want to thank particularly Tim, Strongarm, Niagara, Timothy, and Sir Toyjet for support over on Patreon. But what I really love everybody to do, whether you're live here now on YouTube or watching later, is smash the subscribe button if it's red, because that means you're not a subscriber on YouTube. And lick the like button. Always lick that like button. It tastes really good, trust me. And of course, post a comment so that the YouTube algorithm knows that you care. Really do appreciate that, because I want to grow the channel. So I really appreciate all of your support. So thank you very, very much. See you next time for, yes, more, even more.